QuickBooks Online 2021. QuickBooks free 30-day trial. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Online 2021. Here we are on the Intuit website, Intuit being the owner of QuickBooks, Intuit at intuit.com. That's intuit.com. We're looking for a 30-day free trial if we can get access to it so we can then practice the use of the class tracking as it would be applied to breaking out business and personal information for our accounting information in one QuickBooks file, one QuickBooks Online file with the help and use of class tracking. Once on the Intuit webpage, we're then going to go to the QuickBooks icon here. There being multiple types of programs that Intuit owns. You could then go to the products dropdown. I like to go all the way down to the bottom then, where I see the products down here, and this has been this way for some time, so I think this is a pretty safe place to go even if they change their site. And then we're going to go to the QuickBooks Online. That should be the top one. That's the one they advertise, most often. Therefore, it's on top. We're looking for the purchasing options. We're looking for the plus here. I'd like the free option. So I'm going to toggle this over to free. When I do so, it's going to be scary because it's going to, and then a pop-up might show up, but I'm going to close the pop-up because what's going to happen is this price is going to jump up to the $70. But the offer, as I interpret it, is that they're saying, hey, you can get the 30-day free trial or you can get this discounted amount for a certain amount of time. If you're testing something out, then you might want to try the free trial to see if it works. If you're trying to say, hey, does it work if I'm going to put my personal and my business information into one file? I want to test out the class tracking and so on. You might want to then test it out with a 30-day free trial and then see if you can get a discount, possibly by searching around for a discount. There's a lot of discounts out there typically, and or talking to your tax professional once you decide to make the actual purchase. Therefore, I'm going to toggle this over. It jumps up to 70, but that's okay. This button didn't turn green. It's now black, so it's not as prominent, but it still says free there. So I'm going to try the free trial period. And so then it says add to the trial. So we have the free trial down here. It says free trial, free trial. It's still scary because it says $70, but I don't think that 75 and 70 for $145. But I don't think it's required to have your credit card to continue on with the process. So if they don't have your credit card, then you should be pretty good that they can't actually charge you the $145 because it does say free trial right there and right there. So I think we're still good. I'm going to say check it out. Check it out. Once you sign in and either start an account or use your current account, then you might see this item happening. This is one last shot at the Intuit, at the owner of QuickBooks, to try to get you to hit the buy button with the big green buy button instead of having the free trial here. But we want to hit the little one down here that's not so bold that says continue with the free trial, please, because we want to set up the free trial, so we're continuing there. And then it's going to say, welcome, we're glad you're here. Here's what we'll do together right now. So tell us what you need for help. We'll personalize QuickBooks and make recommendations based on your needs. We'll bring in your transactions and organize your money. Great. So we're going to continue on. What's the name of your business? I'm just going to call it Personal and Business File because that's what we're going to do with it. So obviously that probably wouldn't be the like the name you'd use, but we're going to do both personal and business with class tracking. So, and then it says, I use QuickBooks Desktop and want to bring in my data. No, we're not going to do that. If you had a prior data in Desktop that you want to bring in online, then you check that off and then it'll go from there. What's your role at personal and business? We're going to say we're the owner. I'm going to say next then, and it says, does someone help you with your books? If you have an account or bookkeeper, you can invite them. So we're going to say no. We're going to do it ourselves here, and then say next, and then say who helps you run your business. Help us understand who is part of your team. I'm going to say it's sole proprietorship. Obviously, well, you could check all of these off. I don't think this will have an impact on how they structure your QuickBooks design. I think it's going to be an informational type of thing for QuickBooks, but it could have an impact on the chart of accounts. I don't think it does, however. I'm going to check them all off just to make sure. I'm going to say next. And then what do you want to do? Now, I do think that this could have an impact on your chart of accounts. Set up QuickBooks to start using right away, or explore QuickBooks before I set it up. Actually, this one I want to set it up right away. So I'm going to set it up right away. And next. And then it says link your accounts. So if we want to link accounts such as bank institution accounts, credit card accounts, and bank accounts, we could do so here now. We're not going to do that. If you do not do that when you first start up, you can do it later, but that is not our focus here. We're focusing on the class tracking. So we're going to be skipping this item. So what kind of business is this? Tell us about your business. So we're going to say we're a sole proprietorship. This is basically the business entity format. So if you're a partnership, it may have an impact on the general chart of accounts that they provide to you, possibly in the capital section or in the equity section, giving you capital partners, possibly or possibly not. And the corporation, again, could have some kind of impact on the organization of the chart of accounts. But we're going to say the sole proprietorship here, and then we'll say next. And then how does your business make money? We tailor your account categories. When they say account categories, they basically mean the chart of accounts, the accounts that you will be using, your general ledger, your chart of accounts, basically. So it says, I provide services, I sell products, something else. I'm going to pick the products because I want them to be picking up inventory type of items and cost of goods sold accounts when they give me the generic chart of accounts. So that could have an impact on the accounts that will be set up. What type of business? I'm going to say general retail. I'm just going to say general retail. So I'm going to choose all other miscellaneous store retailers except tobacco store and so on. And my goal here again is to try to get them to give me a chart of accounts, categories of accounts that includes like inventory type of items. If they don't, then I can set them up later. The QuickBooks Online system gives a fairly basic general chart of accounts, doesn't have as much deviance or range from industry to industry on the default chart of accounts as does the QuickBooks desktop version. So I'm going to say then next. And what do you want to set up next? So we can have invoices or track receipts and bills. And I'm not going to set up any custom invoices. I'm just going to use the default invoices. So I'm going to skip this, skipping that. What is everything you want to set up? Your choice, help build and setup guide. So the setup guide looks like it's kind of like a flow chart that's going to help you through, similar to like the homepage on the desktop version. So I'm going to check off basically all of this stuff: organize money in and out, invoice customers. I'm going to assume we want to invoice customers, track receipts and bills. I'm going to assume we want to do that. Pay employees. We may not have employees, so you may not want to check that off if you do not, but I'm going to check it off here. Sales tax. If sales tax is applicable, that would be applicable by state if you're looking at the U.S. taxes. Accept online payments. Now, this is something you may not do, and therefore you may not check it off, but I'm going to check it off here. Enter and pay bills. I'm going to assume we want to do that. Track time. We're not going to do that within the QuickBooks system. Manage inventory. I'm going to check that off. And then protect my business with insurance. I'm not going to check that off because that's probably an add-on feature that QuickBooks is going to try to sell me, if I check that one off. So I'm going to say, nah, I don't want to do that. And then I'm going to say done. And there we have it. So now we are set up and we are ready to QuickBooks. Let's show you around. And I'm going to say, no, you could take the quick tour down here. I'm not going to take the tour myself though, and we'll come back into it later. So this is what we have. It gives us this nice dashboard at the beginning, which is kind of more reminiscent of the desktop version, kind of giving you a flow chart in basically like the home page that it has designed here, but much of the functionality once again on the left-hand side and in the cog up top when we actually go into entering the transactions. Of course, if we go down to the accounting tab on the left-hand side, then we should have our chart of accounts. If we see our chart of accounts here, these are the general accounts that they gave us, that they set up for us. And so these are the items that we'll basically be modifying. Now, obviously, when you're thinking of the chart of accounts from a business and personal side of things, the business chart of accounts is much more standardized. When we get into the personal chart of accounts, what type of categories do I want to categorize on a personal level, then it's a lot different, right? And I think that's one reason personal budgeting is a lot more difficult for a lot of people, because there's no objective of simply making money, which is what you do on the business side of things. And therefore it's, what do you want to do with the expenses and how do you want to categorize them is a little bit more complex. We'll dive into that more in future presentations. But first, just to note, we will turn on the class tracking. That's not on by default. We'll turn it on next time. But since that is the focus here, it's in the cog up top. It's going to be in the company, your company settings, account and settings. And then you got to go to the advanced area. We're going up to the advanced area here. This is no beginner stuff. Actually, it's pretty straightforward though. And so we're in advanced and then the categories. So we want class tracking and possibly location tracking. We'll talk more about those things and how to use them and turn them on in future presentations.